It's July 2021, and the USA U19 team is set to face off in the finals of the FIBA World Cup. The USA has a star-studded roster. The #1 recruit in the country, Chet Holmgren, Jaden Ivey, Johnny Davis, Patrick Baldwin. For most of the tournament, it's been pure domination. Turkey, Mali, Australia, South Korea, Senegal. These teams didn't stand a chance. They really didn't deal with adversity till having to face off against a loaded Canada team, a team that featured players like top rookie this past season, Benedict Mathurin, and the reigning Naismith College Player of the Year, Zach Edey. It was close, but they managed to come out on top. Their opponent for the finals, France. The face of that team, Victor Wembanyama, the greatest prospect in a generation, the 7'4" freak of nature with the skill of a guard. Someone that today is a lock to be the first overall pick to the Spurs, coming in with some of the highest expectations we've ever seen. The matchup is hyped up to be this duel of the best prospect in the world, Wembanyama, versus the top prospect in the United States, Chet Holmgren. But Wembanyama dominated. Chet too small, Chet too small. Get that out of here, Ivy. Fade away and one. Get that out again, pick and pop three. All this at the halftime break. France leads 42-37. Wembanyama already has 18 points and 4 blocks. Now the USA would actually go on to win this game, but it wasn't on the back of Chet Holmgren, Jaden Ivey. No, it was on the back of someone that few had ever even heard of at this point. 6'7", 300-pound bowling ball, Louisiana Tech freshman, Kenneth Lofton Jr. Just a year ago, this is someone that was barely recruited, completely unranked. But after an impressive freshman season that was capped off by dropping 27 points, including the game-winning shot in the NIT tournament, the door opened for this opportunity to play alongside some of the biggest prospects in the country, an opportunity he wasn't going to let go to waste. After just a single point in the first half, the second half was all his.
Lofton with due draga. Kenneth Lofton proti Wembanyama.
Did you see that? Watch that again. That's the best prospect on the planet. Again, even after getting blocked, the strength ultimately wins in this possession. The lead slowly gets chiseled away, and down the stretch, they don't stop going to him. Wembanyama was a problem all night. USA couldn't find any success at the basket, besides from one man, Kenneth Lofton. The NBA season is coming to an end, and with that, sadly no more PrizePicks NBA. But you still have a couple more chances at an entry that could win up to $1 million from today's sponsor. They're giving one of those away every single day of the playoffs. It's a sports pick'em platform that's legal in over 30 US states. You just choose more or less on stats, and you can win up to 25 times your entry. For tonight's entry, I'm going all Celtics. Gabe Vincent is out. At home, I think the Celtics make a statement here. I'm taking Tatum points, Jaylen Brown assists, and Marcus Smart rebounds. I'm then finishing it off with a free square for Game 1 of the finals. All you need is Nikola Jokic to score a single point. It's going to be tough, but I think he can get there. If you guys haven't checked out PrizePicks, I've got yet another promo for you. On top of the $1 million entry promo, on top of the free square, if you use my code JIMMER when you sign up, they're actually going to give you a deposit match up to $100. It's available in over 30 US states, and age restrictions do vary state to state, but please remember to play responsibly. Thank you, PrizePicks, for sponsoring today's video. He finished the night with a team-high 16 points and 9 rebounds. Oh, and this was no fluke. This is not Tua coming in at halftime of the Natty. Lofton was doing this all tournament. It was Kenneth Lofton in the second half that got USA past Canada. He finished the night leading them in scoring. Not just that, but despite them not fully knowing what they had with Lofton and giving him just 12 minutes in the first round. Despite being on a team with some of the biggest names in the country, guys that would go on to become top 5 picks in the draft, Kenneth Lofton led the US in scoring over the entire tournament. He was vital to their success. France is arguably the best prospect in the world. USA has Chet Holmgren, yet one man, our thick god, is dominating down the stretch. Buckets and steals. Long live Kenneth Lofton Jr. It's also that game against Wembanyama that's had people coming back to it recently for tweets like this. Undrafted two-way prospect versus the quote-unquote best prospect ever, first pick, Victor Wembanyama. In fact, there's tons of these tweets. But Kenneth Lofton was robbed. Chet Holmgren was given MVP of the tournament, and even after winning said that Lofton was the quote-unquote real MVP. A year goes by, Lofton finishes up a sophomore season where he averaged 17 and 11. He decides to declare for the draft, but he doesn't even get an invite to the combine. That doesn't happen till he dominates the G League Elite Camp. Once getting to the combine, he would become one of the biggest headlines. Every outlet is praising him as one of the biggest winners. But come draft night, he watches 60 picks go by without hearing his name. He had gone undrafted. Now, he wouldn't have to wait too long to get an opportunity. The Grizzlies would sign him to a two-way contract, and he was off to the NBA Summer League. In his Summer League debut, it was nothing too notable. He came off the bench and had one of the smallest roles where he put up 9 points and 3 rebounds.
Number 6 on a blue team. These are games.
On that same night, we would get to see the Summer League debut of the second overall pick, Chet Holmgren, which was nothing short of electric. He came out there and put up 23 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 6 blocks. It wasn't just the numbers. The 7-footer was must-see TV, bringing the ball up the court, isolating on the perimeter, hitting step-back threes, complete domination. Now, we would only have to wait a day to see these two go face-to-face, the two leaders of Team USA a year prior that are now coming into the league with completely different levels of hype and expectations. Lofton knew he should have won MVP, and tonight, he was going to show the world once again. Holmgren would end the night shooting just 3 for 11 from the field. In the very first possession for the Grizzlies, Lofton gets the ball, and we see this. Chet Holmgren just got hit by a truck. He then gets the ball on an island. Chet is on him. You know what's coming. Just 10 seconds later, Lofton gets a steal, out in transition. Chet Holmgren on him, pull up 3. At this point, he's a 280-pound forward that just sent Chet to another planet in the post. A possession later is hitting a pull-up 3 in transition. He has 7 points. We are only 1 minute and 27 seconds into the game. We see him again in the second, and he's going right back at Chet, dishing out dimes, getting putbacks, and ending the quarter once again with this shot over Chet. We hit the third quarter, and the madness just doesn't stop. Lofton hits a 30-footer in the face of Chet Holmgren. This one's getting JimmerRange out of his chair. He's running out in transition on Chet, easy money. Kenneth Lofton just made a statement to the rest of the league. If Chet was the second overall pick, Kenneth Lofton must have gone number 1. Kenneth Lofton is torching Chet. Chet's gonna block 1,284 shots in his second game. Kenneth Lofton. And it doesn't stop there. The next game against the Clippers, he scores 18 points, going 8 for 9 from the field in only 15 minutes. Lofton came out of the Summer League as not just one of the biggest surprises, but one of the top performers. We hit the regular season. Despite all the positive momentum, no roles available. He would get some garbage time, but most of the season was spent in the G League. Lofton had proved himself every step of the way. College, Team USA, Combine, Summer League, and surprise, surprise, the G League was no different. In his very first game, he's dropping 24 points and 8 rebounds. He even threw down a poster, and he didn't slow down. He would go on to average 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists, take home G League Rookie of the Year, and make all G League first team. And once Steven Adams went down with an injury that would cause him to miss the entire playoffs, the Grizzlies needed more depth in the front court. So they decided to make the decision and waive their most recent second-round selection, Kennedy Chandler, and convert Kenneth Lofton's two-way deal to a 4-year, $7 million contract. The very next day, the Grizzlies have their last game of the season, and Kenneth Lofton is thrusted into the starting lineup. He goes out there and drops 42 points and 14 rebounds. The first player in NBA history to drop 40 points and 10 rebounds in their starting debut. But then they go to the playoffs, and even with Steven Adams absent, Lofton can't manage to get on the court excluding garbage time. A puzzling situation for many. At face value, you have this player that led Team USA, bullied Wembanyama, then Chet Holmgren, won G League Rookie of the Year, dropped 42 points in his first NBA start. Why can't he get on the court? Now this could very likely change, but it's not too hard to see why this is happening. His game is fun to watch. He's without a doubt a back-to-the-basket bruiser, but it never really feels like he's slowing the game down. The time from catch to shot is way faster than what we typically see from these types of players. His baseline spin is absolutely lethal. Opposing defenders are so worried about his strength, they're completely caught off guard. His first back down is like a flash grenade that allows him to spin and just blow right by. In this area, he's also great at finding cutters. It's a fading playstyle, but he is bringing some modern elements that really catch your eye. He's freakishly strong and extremely well coordinated for that frame. This bodes really well for lower league success and taking advantage of the tankathon that was the end of the season. Let's get that out of the way. The 42-point performance was not your typical game. This was pickup basketball. Lofton played 40 minutes. The Grizzlies only played 5 guys: David Roddy, Vince Williams, Zaire Williams, John Conchar, and Jacob Gilyard. The Thunder put out a similar caliber lineup. No defense was getting played. Some of these shots in the post were defended by guards like Lindy Waters. Okay, so that was fluky, but why can't he even get in the rotation? His strengths are pretty clear. That's what most people see, but it's not very telling. We all saw that 3-point production in the Summer League. It looked legit, but that was deceiving. He's not a great floor spacer. In fact, he's not even a good free throw shooter. He made 4 threes in his 2 college seasons. In the G League, he was for sure taking them, but he shot just 25%. He can produce some really impressive clips doing things off the dribble, but as a whole, these are probably net negative possessions with his turnover problems. And then the kicker, defense. Playing in the front court, despite the strength, he doesn't have the size to be a great rim protector. Despite being pretty agile for a guy with a build like that, he doesn't have the agility to keep up in a switch-heavy league like we see today. The toughest part is that could possibly change by shedding some weight, but in the event that happens, what does he bring offensively? Right now, you could put him out there with the Grizzlies starters. You could give him touches in the post, and he would be productive in those isolated situations. But that's the thing, you've got to give him touches. If that's not happening, it's hard to say if he would be bringing anything positive with where his game stands today. It's one of those situations that's hard to grasp. An objectively great individual player, but reality is, it's a team game. A good comparison or example is Luka Garza. This is someone that has a case for one of the best college seasons we've ever seen in 2021. He put up 24-9, shooting with 55-44 splits. Ridiculous. He goes in the second round but has seen the court sparingly. Most of what we've seen from him has been in the G League. His numbers there don't even make any sense. This season he put up 31 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 65% from the field. It gets crazier. He's only played a little bit in 28 NBA games this season, but when out there, he's been truly an incredible scorer. According to Raptors win above replacement stats, the only center that was better than Garza offensively this season is Nikola Jokic. Insane. Now that would likely not hold with increased volume, but a strong case can be made that Garza just might be one of the best scoring bigs on the planet. In a different era, he might be one of the best players in the league. But again, he needs touches, and defensively, he is atrocious. That same stat puts him at 103 of the 107 centers on the defensive end. In the front court today, it takes a whole lot of offense to get on the court without defense. The only way you can even justify a player like Garza on the court is if he's shooting the basketball, but a lot of shots just aren't available coming into the league without top-end draft capital associated, which leads to the constant back and forth of dominating the G League and sitting on an NBA bench. Most of the league is role players. Guys like Jahlil Okafor, Kenneth Lofton, and Luka Garza don't have a skill set to accommodate that role. This might not be the case in the future for Lofton, but it paints the picture why situations like this can happen. Why you can have a player that looked nothing short of dominant in so many circumstances, but never put together an NBA role. Now there are some things to get excited about with him. He is still very raw. Some of our perceived flaws could get addressed, and the Grizzlies set themselves up beautifully if he puts it all together. That 4-year contract has little to no commitment whatsoever. The only season that's guaranteed is next season. They can escape this contract in a blink of an eye, or get a steal at basically the league minimum for the next 3 seasons. Then Chet and Wembanyama, did they get exposed? Not quite. Lofton is strong, there's no doubt about that. Everyone's so quick to come for guys like Chet and Victor because of their thin frames. But on an island, Lofton's gonna do that to most defenders. Wembanyama was a thinner 17-year-old at the time. Chet needs to continue to get bigger, but he is someone that historically has used his length and shot blocking extremely well to make up for his lack of size. In specific matchups like this, you would probably see them adjust and have him roaming like we saw with Anthony Davis and Rui in the Western Conference Finals. These 2 prospects are still projected to be elite NBA level defenders in the future.